Hey there, my name's Lachlan Oberon and welcome to my YouTube channel.
So now you put a name to this pretty face. What can you expect from this YouTube channel? Well, the first thing you can expect is some motorsport content. What it takes to go racing, a bit of a day in the life of going to the track and racing in a time attack series. We're actually on the way now to go get some things sorted for our track day tomorrow. You can also expect some modification videos, things that I do to both of my cars and maybe some of my friends' cars. You can also expect to see some sim racing and maybe a little bit of modification videos. You might even see some theory crafting or even some design videos where I go about the process of trying to make either my own components or my own gadgets or gizmos that I use for track days. Hell, I'm not exactly sure what this channel is going to be just yet, but hopefully you want to stick around for the ride. So now we can get into the content of the video. Right now, we're on the way to go get some bits and pieces together for our track day tomorrow at Queensland Raceway, which is a track located in Australia, in Queensland, just west of Brisbane. It's going to be my third time racing there this year as part of the QR series run by Time Attack Queensland. So, we've got our bits and pieces sorted. Let's have a chat about what sort of cars that I am driving. The first car I want to show you is very close to my heart. It's my pride and joy. It's my baby even. I bought this car when I was 17 years old, just after I left high school. I couldn't even drive it yet. If you're overseas and you don't know about Australian driving regulations and high-powered vehicles and the nonsense, you may not know about it, but I couldn't drive this car because it was turboed for 2 years before I got my open license. And I got burned driving it once, but that's a story for another time. But in front of me here is my R34 GTT Skyline Coupe. It's a 1999. It's not too modified. It's running some LNGT4s, which are quite old school spec. It is running the RB25DT motor. It's currently running a high flow turbo, which means it makes about 400 horse. The last time I got a tune, it made 400 horsepower, and it is ridiculous how insane this car feels. When I first got the car, it was running about 280 horsepower. And one day we'll talk about the trials and tribulations. That's for another video, trials and tribulations with this car. But this is for sure my baby girl. Mishimoto intercooler. It has got a bunch of Nismo goodies all over the place. It's got I believe it's a Z-Tune body kit. But other than that, I've tried to leave it alone. You know, it's one of those cars where it's actually really good from the get-go. It's quite rowdy. I promise you the wing that's on it, that wasn't me. That came from the old owner. It's quite a rowdy car to drive, and it can catch you out very, very quickly if you don't respect it. So it's been a good car to learn not to wrap around a power pole. Now, this on the other hand is my 2013 Toyota 86 GT spec. Now, similar to my Skyline, I actually haven't done too much to this car. Not from a lack of want, but more so this is my daily car. And so the goal with this car is to have a fun and enjoyable everydayer that I don't have to worry about blowing up. Don't have to worry too much about repairs, because repairs on this thing relative to the Skyline are so much more cheaper. It's unreal. This car is my main track car as well. And I know what you're saying. Why is your track car also your daily car? Sometimes I wonder about that myself. But the benefit of this 86 is it's such a nice platform to drive on. And I'm finding so much joy just raging on this thing to the limit, where a dedicated track car built beyond my means at the moment wouldn't really do me justice. And I need to focus on driving and upskilling myself before I worry about building an amazing race car, because I wouldn't be able to do an amazing race car justice at this point. So let's talk about modifications that this car has. Well, this car races in the street class in Time Attack Queensland rule set, which is very basic, but in essence, the car is very close to OEM, or it's OEM plus. So there's no major aftermarket aero, there's no major aftermarket forced induction. anything along those lines pushes you up to a higher class. There's also regulations about what sort of tires you can run, suspension, interior, like I have to have a full interior in this class, such and such. So what's been done to this car? Well, the car comes on lowering springs, as you might be able to see. It came with these 18-inch Hustler wheels, which are great because they're never going to get any better quality after being raged around the track. It has, like every good Toyota 86 Ricer owner has, it has some nice Valenti taillights, has a NVIDIA R400 catback exhaust, and it's running Michelin Pilot Sport 5s in a 235/40/18. And other than that, it's basically a stock car. The idea is, as I said, I want a seat time car, and I want a car that I can show up to the track and drive home, and then drive to the train station so I can get to work the next day. So tomorrow we are taking this 86 to Queensland Raceway, and we're going to be showing you the times that I can get on it. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Queensland Raceway, there is 4 layouts to Queensland Raceway. The National, the Sprint, the Clubman, and I think it's the Switchback. You'll have to check me on that. But the 2 tracks that are run in this series are the Sprint and the Clubman. So tomorrow we're going to show you, I believe we'll start with Sprint, but we'll find out tomorrow morning when we get there. We're going to run the Sprint first in the morning for the first half of the day, and then we're going to run the Clubman in the afternoon, I believe. And so we'll have you on board for that. We'll have some onboard footage, hopefully, that will look half decent. And yeah, we should have an awesome time. So I'm gonna go have some food, pack my bag, and then I'm going to sleep because I am absolutely wiped and I need to be on my game for tomorrow, because now my driving's going on the internet, and no doubt there'll be some comments telling me how much better my driving could be, which in all honesty, I would love to hear feedback. I'd love to hear feedback about this video. I'd love to hear feedback about the audio. And I'd love to hear feedback about the style or editing or my personal style about how I do videos. If you can't tell, this is my first video on the internet. So we're along here for the journey. We're going to progress both in our driving and in our YouTube ability, and hopefully something comes of it. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the morning, bright and early. I think we have a 5 AM start to make sure we get to the track on time, so I can't stay up any more later, but I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Catch up.
Brother.
Good morning, everyone. It is just about to go 5:50, and we are walking out the door on the way to the track. So let's get to it. Well, good morning from Queensland Raceway. We finally made it. Bit of a rush to get here, actually. A little bit of traffic on the way, which kind of sucked, but we're now in the pits. As you can probably see behind us, we're over here in the pits ready to go. Transponders on, cars emptied out, tire pressures let down. So I'm going to start on 27 PSI in the front and 28 in the rear. I found that my PS5s started to delaminate the first time I was here, which was closer to summer as well, but I just let them get too hot, so they started to peel, flake away. I'm not exactly sure the correct term, but yeah, so we're here ready to go. We're waiting for driver briefing now. So big things today, as we go look over the track, is we want to make sure that we're carrying enough speed down the straight. So a big point of that today is going to be focusing on V'ing the final turn, because I feel like I give up a lot of time and a lot of straight line speed by how slow I get onto the straight. So I really need to focus on my exit here on turn 1. So I think that's going to be our focus after our warm-up session this morning. And other than that, we should have a really, really good day. So I'll check back in with you when we're about to get on track. Welcome. We are now in the pit lane, ready to go out for our first session. I have no idea if you guys can hear me. Let's go make it a good one. And a very good one it was. Here we are, leaving the pit lanes for the first time to start our warm-up lap. And I just want to say a big shout out to Paul Ruzzik and Time Attack Queensland. It's an amazing event that's always well run, and if you can support it, please come and do. So as we head out of pit lane, today the focus is on getting more comfortable driving at speed, so some of the more important actions become subconscious. Sometimes I can find, especially recently, I've been driving in my own head too much, when I really should focus on letting my body take control of turning the car and my mind focus on everything else around me rather than driving right in front of my nose. So the very first event of the year, we did reasonably well. We were pretty slow, but you know, we're warming up to this car, these tires, and this track, which was the first time of all three here at Queensland Raceway this year. The second event, we did much better, even though it was a wet day, and we ended up topping the field, which I do believe, though, is due to these Pilot Sport 5s just being an incredible tire in the wet. You know, I could not break them loose, and I was seconds and seconds beyond anyone else in the street car class. So as we cruise through these switchbacks and we get ready for our first hot lap, this session ended up being our fastest session of the morning for this sprint layout, and we end up doing a 103.66, as you can see here on the left hand side, which was fantastic considering my previous PB was a 105. So that's fantastic. We're already faster. Nothing has changed to the car between then and now, so very happy with that improvement in time already. And as we begin our first fly here, you can see there's still a bit of traffic built up. We found out afterwards that the red Renault that you can see leading the pack ended up having lit mode just around turn 1 behind us, so that was a bit unfortunate for him. So there's going to be a bit of a jumbling of the cars as we go through these corners. So we can also talk, while this lap ends up being a second warm-up lap, about my ability as a YouTuber. So turns out YouTubing is kind of difficult, and getting the cameras to always record and remembering to start them, and also having good mounts that don't break, can sometimes be a bit of a struggle. And so later in this clip, you'll see the GoPro go absolutely flying as my 3D printed camera mount that we're sitting on right now gets absolutely destroyed by the incredible G-forces a Toyota 86 can produce. Further on, I also forget to record a couple of these sessions, so we're going to bounce back and forth throughout the day as we got overtaken by a G87 M2, which was an incredible looking car at the day. Let me talk a bit about this lap. So here you can see I'm trying to carry as much speed through turn 1 as possible, and that's a huge mental toll, that one, trying to trust the car and trust myself that I can actually get through these corners as fast as the car can. And here we come up to the very first heavy braking zone, and you're about to see a very interesting moment that the BMW and the Yaris and I had. And there you go. On camera it didn't look too bad, but all three of us afterwards mentioned that it was a bit of a shock, a bit of a scare, having that Supra come round right in front of us there.
And there we go. And this is where you shall sit for the rest of this session. So now we have a lovely backdrop audio and a great black screen. Let's have a look at some of the times that we set throughout the entirety of the sprint session. So here they are, the results for the day for all 3 sessions combined into one. And you can see our 5th lap was a 103.687 at 176 kilometers an hour, which is a really good time for myself, considering that this, my 105, is my fastest time yet in the sprint series, according to this championship. And if you look down the rest of the times, it's not a great look. We stay in the 105s, 104s, as you can hear me yelling in the background now that I've realized the GoPro has now gone missing. But here you can see 104s. We get down to a 104.1 towards the end of the 3rd session, but we never break down to a 103s. And so now is the time for race car driver excuses. But I do believe today's biggest issue as the day wore on was my brake pads fading. And I was finding I was having a lot of time getting any initial brake feel. I'd have to have the foot to the floor while I was in any of the braking zones to get any sort of feedback. So the next big thing we need to do is brake pads. I knew that they were not great. I knew that they were going to need to be replaced shortly, but there you go. A video coming soon about choosing and replacing brake pads, if you didn't already know. Well, sorry about that. Rightio, so we've just finished the first session and my car got pretty hot. It got 130 nearly oil temp, so I'm going to definitely have to invest in an oil cooler at some point. Sorry, ignore the helmet here. But we managed to pull a 103.687, so I'm yet to figure out where that is in the class, so I have to go find that out. Here we have my GoPro mount that I 3D printed, and it uses the 2 supports from the headrest to mount through, and then you guys were sitting up here, but as you can see, that's going to do no good. So I'm going to try and tape this mount, the slide mount that I use for you guys, tape it on here, see if that holds up for the next track session. But other than that, that's a good start. So I have to go back and look at the footage and see what's going on, but I do think that my biggest limiting factor is nailing that final turn. And I also think that I can do faster through the middle section, but we'll have to see. Anyway, got the car still running, so we're gonna cool down, and then I'll talk to you guys shortly on the next track session. So, you're still in the car. We just went out and did our final session of the sprint circuit, and we didn't go faster. And I'm really struggling on these pads. Sorry you didn't have any footage of that lap, because in the last 2 sessions I've broken the mount, and then I've also forgotten to hit record and spoke to myself in the pit lane like an idiot for a while. So hopefully we remember to start you guys for this session, but this is going to be the first of the new layout. I don't believe this one is the points, but we will see how we go. Alrighty, so I'm not sure if you can see me, but we're now getting into the Clubman. I'm getting confused. I won't lie to you guys, I'm getting quite confused about when I'm going to go where and what, but we're gonna go give it a send and see how it goes. So the first session and the first layout of the day went reasonably well, all things considered. We went faster, we got some good track time. Unfortunately, we didn't get to record nearly as much as I'd like to, but that's on me. Next time we'll do a much better job. So now we're heading out for the Clubman, and generally the second layout of the day is just for experience, it's not for points. So a lot of the time you'll find that people show up for the morning session and then go home after the first layout is over. So here we're following this blue ND MX-5. And I'll now put it out here now that this is my rival. This is the person I am chasing inside of my class. The ND is running 8009s. It's running race pads, race rotors that he swaps just before the track days, and he's very, very, very quick, and his lines are very, very good. And so I'm a couple seconds behind him, but I know I'm getting faster when I get closer to the tail end of this ND. So here we are in the warm-up, and in hindsight, I'm a little close for comfort in this warm-up. Here he jumps on the brakes, and I should have been way further back, you know, letting him time. We're not racing wheel to wheel, so apologies if you're out there. My apologies for being so close to you at the start of this hot lap. So
I'm really just trying to follow his line, and you'll notice that he goes really, really, really deep into the final turn to sacrifice some of his carry-through speed to get maximum acceleration down the straight. And as you can see, he's absolutely disappeared out the front of my car. So we're going to be chasing him the rest of the session, but I believe he ends up going a couple seconds faster than us by the end of the day. So, similar layout to the first session of the day. We are coming through turns 1, turns 2, and turns 3 like normal, but rather than doubling back in turn 4, we carry on and come back to our right. And so it's a little bit tricky lining this corner up. Not this corner here, but finding the maximum rotation point here before coming hard to the right-hand side, coming to the left, a little bit of a lift, and then trying to carry as much speed across through. And you can see trying to slide the car just a little bit, keeping the foot to the floor. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that's the fastest way to go through here, but today we end up doing a 107.148, which is 2.5 seconds faster than our last time on this circuit. So I'm very happy with that, all things considered. I did unfortunately lose out to my best mate who was following me today in his Evo 10, but I can't be too upset with that. An Evo 10 is an absolute weapon of a vehicle. But again, here are the times for today. So yes, as I said, a 107.148 was the fastest time today. We started in the first session at the 107.5s, stayed in the 107.5s for basically the rest of the day, and then the final session managed to do a 107.9, 107.4, 107.1 to finish us off. So I'll leave you to hammer around the rest of the Clubman track on board with me, thanks to quality duct tape, and we'll talk afterwards. So maybe mildly dramatic, but here you can see his hood actually was open, which was a bit of an interesting sight to see. we actually end up doing pretty well chasing this Mustang through the corners. And if someone in the comments has let me know if that's an actual thing on these Mustangs, are they a rear open hood? I'm not a Ford guy, unfortunately, so here you can see us chasing him through the rest of the corners and gaining on him all the way up until we meet the next straight. Thank you for watching my very first ever YouTube video and the summary of round 3 at Queensland Raceway for myself. I think there's a lot to take away from today that is positive. We absolutely smoked our previous PB times, which you can see above here right now, and by multiple seconds, nearly 3 seconds in the clubman sense. So we can be really happy about those results. We got heaps of seat time. There was minimal incidents all day, so all involved managed to get home safely. It was a really positive day for learning to drive my car better than I did the day before. And I think the fact that we came down in time so significantly shows that the last 2 track days have gone a long way in improving our times. If there's any feedback you'd like to leave on this video, be it how I've edited the video or be it my driving, which I think is very important to me, please leave it down below. Any videos you might like to see, anything you liked or disliked. My goal here is to try and record a video next month for a driver training day that I have at Queensland Raceway, and then again King of QR, which will be a massive event on July the 28th at Queensland Raceway. There'll be time attack, there'll be drifting, there'll be show and shine. If you're in the area, come down, hang out at the event. It's a really awesome event. It's great to see people supporting it, so if you can come down as well, that'd be fantastic. But other than that, like, subscribe, all the good YouTube things, and I'll catch you in the next one.